one thing, I think Ruin of Angels is quite possibly my favorite one of the books. And I think it's because the different worlds are starting to crash together a bit. I really love seeing Tara from an outside point of view because she hasn't got much kind of point of view page. And obviously we're so used to being in her head. And if you read Publication Order, she's your first character. So seeing her from Kai's point of view is really interesting because you can see how closed off she is and like how she's developed. But again, those moral questions that she's dealing with, having kind of essentially got into bed with the Ascari and realizing, it might not be the best thing. Yeah. Then also that thing about the freedom and the orbits for Kai, because she broke out of everything in Full Fathom 5, but is now enmeshed in not only the priesthood, but this secondary priesthood and kind of balancing all that together. And I personally find that really fascinating and see this real continuity of character. It's because I think sometimes doing that could just be rehashing the same argument again and again. And I think especially maybe you could see that with Tara in the two books, especially with kind of the de novo plot in 3 Parts Dead and 4 Roads Across, I think could be a rehash, but it doesn't come off that way because it's new learnings, not making the same mistakes. And I find that very fascinating. And for Dead Country, obviously we're back with Tara. I found it incredibly fascinating when she is kind of just breaking off from the craft world essentially with Dawn. It's like, you probably shouldn't go to the hidden schools. Like, I had a good time, but I've reassessed where that sits in the whole kind of landscape, and probably not the best thing. Which I was surprised when I first read it. I felt surprised that she did that. Then as soon as I thought about it, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, if you'd gone through what Tara's gone through, and especially essentially becoming a bit of a priestess, an unwilling priestess as well, kind of seeing the multiple sides of the coin, you probably would have that attitude at this point.
Yeah, I think she has she's developed a certain amount of skepticism towards the institutions of the craft. Not that she's necessarily figured out the one true better way to do it, but one sort of kind of energy she's bringing to her relationship with Dawn as she's trying to teach her is don't make my mistakes. But of course she's got a very blinkered sense too of what her mistakes were, that they may or may not be correct. So I think that's a challenge one often runs into in teaching or parenting, or even working with a subordinate in the office, or a new hire. On the one hand, you want to protect them or help them around certain pitfalls that you might have fallen into earlier in your career. On the other hand, you got to give them freedom to explore, and maybe, I don't know, something that comes up with Tara and Dawn is that Dawn doesn't want to learn how to be better sort of than Tara.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I think it's quite interesting, and again, it's those point of view things that I really now want to get into Dawn's head and kind of her perspective of the whole thing, because you get these hints of everything that's going on underneath, but obviously being single point of view, I can't explore that just yet. Especially, I'm not going to go into too much with the climax, but the way it goes is it's one of those things that I found with all the craft books is that there is this tension, as you said, that you kind of got this kind of plot going, and there's something maybe that you're not seeing, or that's there's always some kind of mystery. And for me, when it's revealed what's happening, or this twist, or the big reveal, whatever it is kind of half a sense of relief because the tension's dissipated, and half just how the hell did I not see that coming? And I felt that very much in Dead Country. Especially following the Tara books, I suppose, arc, it just feels like such a natural, it's not even a conclusion, but next step for it. But I would never have guessed it. So
good.
Bravo for that, at least from my opinion. But maybe other people have guessed it, but not me.
No, it's really good. It always makes you feel very gratified, because being inside my own head, these are things that writing the second book it was almost even harder, because it was okay, now it's time to try to actually explicate a bunch of stuff that I feel has been very clearly implied by many of the other books, or by stuff that's established in Dead Country. But readers are no, that was not clear to me. You need
especially
to
read it once.
Yes.
again, I'm in a different headspace just because I have read the. I think I've probably read the books more than anyone who was not involved in the publishing process itself, to be perfectly honest. And so I'll be talking to friends that have read it, because I make all my friends read it, and then say, "I'm this really specific thing in this book," and I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about," and it'll turn out it's like 13 words across an entire book that I've like really just dived into and be like, "I think this is a thing." So from a very different perspective, I think I can empathize with that. You're like, it's so obvious that's happening, and then nobody else noticed that. It's just me. Okay.
Well, it's gratifying to be noticed, I will say.
Well, I hope I'm noticing the right things. You never know. I might be going completely on the wrong way with these, but
well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Don't want to confirm anything in advance.